Hello and welcome. Coming to you from the podcast studio, I'm Josh.
And I'm Jon, and I've got a toxic waste sour candy in my mouth, and I'm not even making a face right now.
Ugh, my mouth jowls are hurting just thinking about it.
Hey, you're about to have one too, fella.
But this is the Geek ETC podcast, where we dive into all things you can geek out about. Hello, friend.
Well, howdy.
Welcome back. Another day.
Another $1?
Hopefully.
Maybe.
We'll see.
We'll see how much.
So you mentioned there in the intro these toxic waste candies. You've brought some.
Yeah.
For me to try. I've never had one of these.
Yeah. So a little background. I mean, there's this show that my wife and I would watch on YouTube. I forget. It's one of those like this other country tries the other people's snacks type of thing, and it's usually celebrities, and it's like American celebrity,
like a reaction kind of type of deal.
Yeah, there'll be like a Swedish celebrity and a British celebrity, and they'll be trying each other's snacks, and a lot of American celebrities, and they always have like the toxic waste as one of the American candies. Like it's like a ubiquitous thing that we are supposed to eat all the time.
Really?
But
did Americans just like sour candies?
Well, I think we do.
I mean, we do.
I mean, like Warheads and Sour Patch Kids and all that kind of stuff. Sour gummy worms, but this one, it was weird for me because I was like, well, I love sour things, you know, and I've never had this and I've never seen it in a store. So my wife for Father's Day, any of our Instagram followers can see, she got me some stuff that we had like seen on that show before. And I was super psyched about it. Tried some of these. They're pretty sour. I don't know if they're the most extreme sour thing I've ever had, but I thought you'd like it. But normally the celebrities can't handle it. I've only seen like one person who's like, oh, that's proper good, you know, like.
Really?
Yeah.
So it's just too much for them.
Yeah. You know, for our UK followers, or I had Vimto, which is like this berry-ish.
Vimto.
Oh.
I
had like and then I had Solo, which is a like lemon soda from Australia.
Oh.
That was delicious. Vimto, I was like hit or miss on. I had it cold. I don't know. It was, it definitely wasn't bad. Definitely wasn't bad.
I have to look it up what kind of sodas they are, but there's just one brand of sodas that they make like ridiculous stuff. And I might have to see if I can get a hold of some of them and we can do some. Oh,
not like the ones like ranch or whatever.
Yeah, it's like
I'm not drinking ranch soda.
I'll pass on the ranch. I'll see if I could find some maybe that are like kind of weird, but not like. I mean, I just don't want to just drink something gross. It's like those Jelly Bellies that are just like the nasty ones, like booger and stuff. Yeah, like I'm like, I don't want to risk testing it.
No, I know.
I don't want to try that or grass, fresh cut grass.
I don't know. Those things are always weird. The ones that get me are the ones that are like always like the super spicy things, and they just spring it on people. I remember I was watching a boxing match one time with some fellas, and all these guys are Mexican guys. They own Mexican restaurants, and so they had pizza. They had pepperoni pizza. They had cut some habaneros into thin slices, and then like put it like there was like it was like a roulette thing. There was like 2 or 3 slices that underneath each slice of pepperoni was a habanero.
Oh God!
And so that was a fun trip. I got one of them.
Really?
Yeah.
See, that is one thing I can deal with a little sour stuff, but like I don't do spice. I hate spicy
I know you do.
Things.
Yeah.
I've just never. I say that, but like I've become a little more accustomed to them as I've gotten a little older. Like I can deal with like I've tried some like Asian food and stuff that has like a little bit of some hints there, and it's not too bad, but I can kind of deal with it. But like I don't want to sweat while I'm eating. I don't like sweating anyways.
Yeah.
The day. So if my forehead's like getting hot because I'm eating food, like eating food's supposed to be enjoyable, and that takes some of that out of it for me.
Yeah, I don't mind sweating or getting hot from it. Like if it's like a warmness, it's just when it destroys your tongue. So like I can do pretty hot stuff like Thai food or like, Nashville fried chicken or something like that. But once they're like ghost peppers, I don't like.
Oh, we're like the Reaper stuff.
Yeah,
any of that kind of
I don't
thing.
like the taste of it. Right, like the other stuff, like this, cayenne and other stuff, like with like the sugar and the sweetness with the salt, and then also the excessive heat. I like that, but when it's ghost pepper, it makes it more acrid, and that's just not what I'm into.
Right. Yeah, I've never tried any ghost pepper stuff, and I don't have any intention to.
Oh man,
I don't know that we'll be doing the 1 chip challenge on this podcast.
Don't never say never, because if we get enough patrons, I think you're
gonna be like a patron goal sort of thing. Oh no, we start getting into the Patreon goals where they're like having us do crazy stuff. Well, we'll talk about that later.
Yeah, that'd be funny.
All right, so I'm putting it off though. So we got this toxic waste.
Yeah, let's do it. Let's do it right now. So I've got lemon, you got blue raspberry.
Okay.
They're like a little gummy. It says, read it one more time. What does it say on there, Josh?
Well, I've kind of ripped the package, but it basically says don't eat more than one at a time or it'll destroy your mouth. It
says, caution, consuming more than one within a short period of time may cause irritation to mouth. Sensitive individuals should not consume this product. All right, so this is about to be a crime to your taste buds, maybe, but you ready?
1, 2, 3.
And go. That's not bad to me.
Okay. Hasn't hit yet.
Not bad.
Tastes like a warhead.
Mm-hmm. It's really not that bad. All the people from like the UK and stuff that try this stuff are like, or even celebrities, like American celebrities, like,
really?
Yeah. I used to eat those Shockers things till my tongue bled. So
I'm already to the sweet part. Like I feel like the sour's gone.
Mm-hmm.
That was it.
Yeah. Now there is a little sour piece in the middle.
Oh.
We could get like an umeboshi plum. Have you ever heard of those?
Mm-mm.
It's like the most sour like food ever.
Really?
Oh my God, when you go to Japan, there we go.
True. So this is, I mean, yeah, like that wasn't any worse than any warhead I had. Like I feel like warheads when we were kids. I feel like warheads when we were kids were like, I mean, it may have just been my kid taste buds that were, unaccustomed to sour things, so they were that much more sour.
Mm-hmm.
We didn't have any perspective. But this doesn't seem any worse than any of those. Yeah.
Yeah, I agree.
Did warheads have warnings on them?
No. We don't need warnings.
True.
When we were children.
Yeah,
all right.
That just tastes good.
That's just good, yeah. I'm glad you like it. It's a good little sour candy.
We need to find some other interesting snacks to try.
Well, like I just brought up, though, you're going to be taking a trip to Japan in October.
Which I am very excited for. And they are known for their variety in cool snacks and candies and treats and all sorts of stuff.
Well, and I had some of their, so my wife got me a bag of like those. They're like some gummy things that were supposed to be sour, but I'm talking zero sour. Like even a child would say they're zero sour. So it was like gummy jelly belly things.
Gummy jelly belly.
Gummy jelly bears. I don't know.
I have some actually Japanese gummy peach things in the kitchen.
Oh, I bet. Yeah. You're a big peach guy.
I am a big peach guy. Peach is probably, it might be my favorite flavor of like, I guess just flavor that you could have in things, whether it be like sodas or candy or just food.
Are you a peach Fanta guy in a glass bottle?
I mean, I don't really drink Fanta, period, but just because all the sugar in it.
Well, sure. I'm just saying, like, that's like
if I had to pick a Fanta,
peach knee high.
Oh,
peach
I was gonna say like knee high is probably
knee
what I'm talking about.
But it's pretty good.
That that crossed the line in that it's like it's too sweet that I can't enjoy it.
Yeah.
But recently, on our Instagram, posted those photos of that UFO festival.
Oh, yeah, that's right.
That happened around here in Spruce Pine, and went to that with my wife and my mom. We went and checked it out. And they had this little, it was like a food truck, but they just sold slushies.
That would be a slushy truck, Josh.
You're right. And it seemed like it was made for the three of us.
Really?
Because he had 3 flavors. It was peach, which I was like, yes.
Yes.
It was cheerwine, which my wife was like, yes. Because she loves cheerwine. And then there was a muscadine grape.
Oh, wow.
Slush.
So perfect for your mom.
Yeah, my mom loved the muscadine stuff too.
And for those who aren't aware, especially our listeners from like that aren't in the South, especially North Carolina, and who are overseas, cheerwine is like this, it's a cherry-ish soda.
It's like a spicy cherry soda.
Spicy cherry soda.
Similar to like, if you know Dr. Pepper or Mr. Pibb or...
Yeah, somewhere in that vein, somewhere in that, like, in the lines of that. And because it confused me when I first moved here. I remember going to a wrestling tournament and we were stopped at a McDonald's on the way back and there was like cheerwine in the soda fountain. I was like, you guys can just get wine at the soda fountain in the South? Like, what is this nonsense? And they're like, no, you silly goose. That's not it.
It's not wine. It's just soda.
Just soda. Well, that's cool.
But yeah,
man.
so yeah, peach is where it's at.
Well, for you at least. So tell me more about that. The thing that you went to.
But yeah, they have like basically they had like the main street closed down through Spruce Pine, and this is in North Carolina again, and
Not a big city.
no, very little town, but they had the whole street kind of closed down, and there was like over 150 vendors, just little booths set up, and they were all selling stuff, a lot of little geodes and crystals and things, but a lot of handmade alien inspired stuff. Either like a lot of crocheted things, which my wife thought was cool. A lot of metal art, like things just like pieced together from different metal plates and stuff. Some interesting origami things, but instead of paper, it was made out of like soda cans.
Very interesting.
Yeah. So I had never seen that. It looked like they'd be sharp and you could throw them like a ninja star. Because that's how that works. But yeah, there was just a lot of different T-shirts and clothes and different things too. And then they had another thing where they actually had speakers go like kind of give the conference sort of thing where there's different prominent speakers from the UFO community, I guess. But you had to pay like $40 to get into that, and we didn't want to do that. We didn't want to be there all day.
Gross, and that some of those like it's spruce pine. It's probably it's not like
I didn't really do much research into the people. I basically looked to see if like Graham Hancock was on it, and he wasn't. So I was like, eh.
Yeah. Well, did you see that? So here where we live at in North Carolina, there was supposed to be a big summit where they were talking about a lot of things.
The Cosmic Summit.
The Cosmic Summit. And Graham Hancock did not, he bailed on it.
Yeah, he backed out of there.
I guess he had some stuff against some of the people
people who were like putting on the actual event. Yeah, I guess that there was some that he wasn't, they were doing something that he didn't really agree with. I didn't really, again, investigate that much as well either, but yeah,
we couldn't afford the tickets for it, so it's okay either way.
You could watch the live stream for like $40 or something, which I was going to do, but I guarantee you there was a lot of people that got refunded on their tickets.
Probably so.
Because of him not being there.
Probably so. Was Randall Carlson still staying?
Yeah.
Okay, interesting.
He was still there, so.
I love that guy. He's like just a jolly old dude.
I know. He's like a geologist Santa.
Yeah. Sacred geometry geologist Santa. Well, circling back, because I brought up your Japanese trip, your Japanese trip, your trip to the island of where the Japanese live,
land of the rising sun,
and because I'll talk about where I'm going here in a couple weeks, and then
you got a vacation coming up.
I do, and then obviously your trip to Japan. We've mentioned it, I think, in probably the first episode we ever did.
A few of them, really,
definitely, and. Because I think it's so neat. So Josh is going to Japan in October for 2 weeks total, right?
3
weeks total, which I think, that's something you got. If you're going overseas, I think obviously price point is a huge deal. And Josh's poor people, I know you've been saving up for it. You and your wife both.
That I will give full credit to my wife. She put in ungodly, unbearable hours at her job, like so much overtime, so many days picked up, was like just I don't know, she's just amazing, and she worked enough to basically pay for almost the whole thing. I mean, obviously I'm saving up and helping where I can, but yeah, she would just work so much extra stuff because she's the type that she'd rather have, like, if there's some event planned, she'd rather have everything done, planned, paid for, and scheduled like a year in advance. And so that's a year that she doesn't have to stress over it, doesn't have to think about it, and can just use that time to kind of plan other little events.
Yep.
And so because of that, she worked like the entire month of like January or February or something. Like, I think she had like 2 days off the entire month.
Wow.
But got enough like extra overtime and whatnot to basically pay for the trip. So that's awesome.
Yeah.
Thanks to her.
Yep.
Thank you, wife. If you're listening to this, if you have the time,
you're welcome.
That was scary.
That was.
But yeah, we're actually going there for 3. Yeah, like you were saying, we're going there for 3 weeks, and we both kind of thought that it's both our first times out of the country, and so to go to such a foreign place like that, we kind of figured like it's going to take a week to even get your bearings.
Yeah.
Because you're in a whole new world, essentially. So it's going to take that long, a week, just to even get your bearings, how just society operates there. You know,
Mhm.
like what it's like to use public transit as your primary means of transportation, or just walking places. You know, kind of finding the best way to translate the language and just how to operate day to day. You know,
Yeah.
to find food. You know, to communicate what you want and everything, and make your way back to the hotel and everything. So there's gonna be a lot of that is going to happen in the first week, and then we'll need a little time after that to really kind of sightsee and enjoy and do the things we want to do.
One of the things I've thought was so interesting in what you're doing with this has been you going on to Google Earth and going from your hotel on Street View and literally just walking around. So when you get there, you're not going to be super confused. And I think that is so smart.
Oh yeah, like I kind of approached it the same way I would like a video game. How like when you put enough hours into GTA 5 or something, and just driving around that city and walking around and stuff, you begin to learn that city. Like there's certain games that like I could picture almost every nook and cranny of certain maps from different games and stuff. Just because you've been in them, you spent so many hours walking around them and living in that world. And so I've kind of tried to similarly just put myself virtually in the streets of Japan around our hotel and in Tokyo, and just would go through Street View and like go block by block, kind of going out, or I'd like start a hotel and I would just go out the door and go right and just follow that road. And then as I'm going, like go to the next intersection, kind of stop and look around, zoom in on, read signs, see what's there. If there's a building that looks like it has stuff, I'll search it and find out, it's a shopping mall and they've got like 8 floors of shops inside of it. And then just do that, but then do it another day, but go left and see what is that way. And I've just been kind of virtual sightseeing and just try and familiarize myself with it.
Okay. Yeah. See, I think that's so smart. I agree with your video game analogy there. It does make a lot. I mean, I could get around Grand Theft Auto. Like if I could get around San Andreas pretty well right now, I think,
Right.
even though I've not played in a long time, I could tell you, like I know which way would be to the beach. I know.
Right. To the airport and stuff.
Exactly.
Right. So I'm a big kind of like map person. I enjoy looking at maps, and I have a pretty good sense of direction when it comes to things like that. And honestly, I feel like a big part of that is the amount of map looking I've done, again, through video games. So many, everything you play has a map in it, and you have to know how to orient yourself. And so just again, countless hours I spent in how many games, orienting yourself, looking at maps, plotting directions and coordinates and objectives and making your way to them. Things like Skyrim or Fallout. Any of these open world games, they all have that stuff. And so I've just spent enough time looking at maps that, looking at the map of Japan is just a new map for me to explore.
Wow. Have you, what are you going to do for fast travel?
Fast travel will be,
bicycle.
Rickshaw.
They don't have rickshaws there.
Yeah, they do.
Do they really?
Yeah.
In Japan?
Yes.
Interesting. Okay. I thought that was more of like a Southeast Asian thing.
Like no, the fast travel will just be taking a train.
The bullet train or something like that?
Well, we won't be taking the bullet train anywhere. That's what you need to take. Like if you're traveling to other parts of Japan, down to like Osaka or Kyoto or Hokkaido, any of those places, if you want to get there in a reasonable time, you get on the Shinkansen, which is the bullet train. And there's a few of them, but that gets you, those are going like 300 miles an hour.
Yeah.
So those get you, that's what you use to travel around different parts of the country. But for 3 weeks there, because there's enough to do there, we're pretty much staying right within the greater Tokyo area. And it's kind of surrounding little towns and stuff.
That's awesome.
So we'll be taking just like buses and the, smaller trains that go in and around the city and stuff, but we won't be getting on the bullet train itself, probably.
Boy, our Instagram's gonna be popping off.
Oh, the amount of pictures I'm going to take.
Yeah.
I plan on documenting so much of this trip.
Yes,
for sure.
Oh, you have to. Yeah, because it's such an expensive thing to do, and then it's hopefully it's not like a once in a lifetime trip.
No, we definitely want to like go back, and then on that next trip, in who knows how many years, but then the next one, do the actual exploring different locations in the country.
Yeah.
Like have it, instead of staying in one place for 3 weeks, stay in like Osaka for like 2 or 3 days, then Kyoto for 3 or 4 days, and then another place for a few more days, kind of thing, and just go to see the different provinces and different prefectures of Japan.
What's your first restaurant you're going to hit up? That's what I want to know.
Nah, I can already tell you.
All right.
Well, actually, technically, it's not really a restaurant, but the first place we'll probably get food is either a 7-Eleven or Lawson's, so convenience stores.
Gotcha.
Because we're going to get there our first night in the evening. Probably like by the time we get our flight lands, we get through customs and immigration and the airport stuff. Maybe do some like money exchange things, get the portable Wi-Fi hotspot, send our luggage to the hotel. Like there's a lot of steps. By the time we get done with all that, it'll probably be close to 7 o'clock in the evening. And, a lot of that depends on how tired or jet lagged we are.
Mm-hmm.
But so that first night will probably be just kind of getting to our hotel, setting up home base. And then within walking distance is a convenience store. I believe it's a Lawson's. So we'll probably just walk down there, and their convenience stores have amazing food, apparently.
Yeah.
Like pre-made little bento boxes and stuff that are all like so much better than anything we have. The like soggy hot dogs we have here.
Hey, they're on rollers. They're not in boil. Listen here, fella.
Some of them are good, I'm sure.
Our
Those
hot
Nathan's.
dogs are on rollers here in the United States of America. They're tasty. They're delicious. You just don't want to give them a chance.
It probably still doesn't compare to the sushi that they have.
You don't want some taquitos
some taquitos.
You don't want some taquitos from the hot box inside the gas station.
No, I'll pass on the taquitos.
Okay, well you have your bento box. I'll snarf some taquitos down.
Yeah, but that'll probably be our first, like the first night. Like I said, we'll make home base and we'll kind of just go down there, raid the convenience store for some essentials, kind of thing, and then probably just walk around the block. Around our hotel just that first evening, just to kind of, again, orient ourselves, see what's around us, just grasp the fact of even being on the other side of the planet.
Yeah.
That's going to be a thing.
Mm-hmm.
But then the next day, our first thing that Cardi kind of decided is right, again, within walking distance, maybe a quarter mile from us, is a big multi-floor shopping mall called Rox, ROX. And in there, they have a sushi, or a conveyor belt sushi restaurant.
Oh, killer.
Yeah, I think it's called a Kuda, Kuda sushi or something like that. And yeah, they have the thing where you go in, like you don't even talk to anybody. You just, you pay at the front or you don't pay at the front, but you basically check in and you get a little ticket that spits out that says, you're at table 27. And so you just go find 27 and sit down, and there's like a big iPad, and it plays a little animation of some like, anime characters and stuff, and talks about this game you can play after putting in so many plates. But then it just has a menu. It just has pictures of all, like pages and pages of all the stuff. And so you just click on it and hit how many you want, and in a couple minutes it just rolls up on I think there's 2 conveyor belts. There's one on the bottom that is constantly rotating with stuff, with all kinds of sushi plates. And if you see something that's interesting, you just take it. You're like, oh, that looks cool. I'm just going to take that thing. And then you eat it, and then there's a little dispenser on the table that you just drop the plates in, and it just like disappears and goes away. But then if you order something, it comes on the top conveyor belt just right to your table, and you can take it off. And so a lot of times they're just like 1 or 2 little pieces of various things, and then you just eat that. You can eat however many plates you want, and then when you're done, you pay at the end based on how many plates you got. Or if you order specific things, then those can be various prices. But anything on that bottom conveyor belt, I think, is all the same price.
That's killer, man. That's exciting.
Yeah, so that'll be the first real restaurant experience we have, probably.
What's one of the biggest attractions you think, other than like food? Like, what's one of the things you have to see while you're going to go?
Well, some of the bigger attractions, one of them is definitely the Tokyo Sky Tree.
Okay.
Which is the tallest structure they have there in Tokyo. It overlooks, it's actually, again, only a couple miles from where we're at, and it, overlooks everything. That's going to be a little nerve-wracking for me because of the heights deal. Mm-hmm. But in the Skytree, or in the area around it there, they also have like a planetarium, an aquarium, a lot of other features and attractions like that we'll probably do. And then there's also Tokyo Disney, which we're going to. Which I've never been to a Disney World or Disneyland, or really the only theme park thing I've been to was either Dollywood and Carowinds.
Okay.
Which you were with me on that trip.
Was I?
To Carowinds. I believe you were.
Okay.
I think we went that was a long time ago.
I've not been to a roller coaster place in a long time.
Yeah, it was a long time ago. I remember it though because I think I got sick.
That makes sense.
I think just because it was that hot.
Yeah,
it was really hot.
I actually saw a guy. God, it's like Paolo from Tokyo or something like that.
Yep, I know the channel.
You know the channel. I like that channel a lot, especially like the Day in Life series.
I don't like him at all.
You don't like him?
I find it very annoying.
Oh, he's just a nice guy.
He's nice. I don't like the way he does his videos.
Well, blah 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 blah. He goes to Disney. He goes to Tokyo Disney while he's there, and they do a thing. It didn't seem like the room he stayed in and a bunch of other stuff there. Now he was probably doing it really cheap. I don't know.
Right.
But it was not super exciting to me.
Right. Yeah. I don't know that I'd want to stay there per chance, but I am excited about going to it because I've never been to any Disney World. My first Disney will be in Tokyo, which is pretty cool.
Well, that means, one of our listeners who also is one of our D&D gamers, you're going to have to get him something for sure.
Oh, yeah.
He loves Disney.
Yeah, I feel like he's at Disneyland or Disney World like every other week.
Yeah. And so you'll have to get him some stuff because he'll love that.
Oh, yeah. That's one thing, too, we've already discussed, too. We're basically going to go and, we get a couple checked luggages with our flight tickets.
Yeah.
But I don't know that I'll need my checked luggage for any clothes or anything because we're going to be there so long. We're prepping to do laundry and stuff while we're there.
Yeah.
So because we're going to do laundry, you don't need to take a lot of clothes necessarily. And so I'm pretty sure I'll be able to get all of my stuff in my personal item and carry-on that I can have on the plane with me. And so I don't even think I'm going to have anything in checked luggage. So all my checked luggage is just going to be full of souvenirs coming back.
I'm throwing this out now. We've not talked about this before, but I think one of those things, and I think we'll split it with on our company credit card here, our Geek ETC credit card, is we need to get like a giveaway item from your trip to give away to our listeners and to like our social media followers.
Interesting. Do a Japan item giveaway.
I think that could be killer.
Was it going to be like a Gundam figure or some candy?
I don't know.
Food
items might.
That may be one
weird.
of those things. Yeah, sending food in the mail is always weird. That may be one of those things that I'll just, as I'm walking around, we're going to go to a ton of like thrift stores and stuff, and I may just see something interesting and be like, "That's it."
Yeah.
That's pretty cool. So, yeah, we'll see.
That'd be cool. I think that would be an interesting giveaway for our folks here. Dude, that's like how long is the flight going to be?
Forever. 14 hours.
Hmm.
We've got an hour flight from here to Atlanta.
Okay.
And then maybe like an hour layover, and then it's like a 14-hour flight to Japan.
Wow.
Which is weird because like we're leaving here on like a Wednesday morning and getting there Thursday evening.
Yeah.
Like the next day. So
yeah,
that's gonna be wild. But it's also weird like coming back
because you're losing time.
Because like it'll only be like, I don't remember what it was. It was like 4 or 6 hours have passed, or if that even. When in reality, it's been like, again, like 16 or 17 hours or some kind of something like coming back total, but it's only been like a couple as far as date and time.
Yeah.
So that's going to be kind of trippy. I've never really experienced a jet lag before, so.
Well, I think if there's a time to experience jet lag, it's going to be a trip from the East Coast of the United States to the eastern side of the planet.
Other side of the planet, yeah. That's true. So we'll see. But I'm very, very excited. I want it to happen now. Like, we keep watching videos on it of like these, one of them is Virtual Japan .tv is his YouTube channel. That's one of my favorites. Those are the like 4K HDR where like it's just silent, but he's just like walking, in like 60 frames, just like walking through the different places in Japan, just to kind of like, again, just it's basically sightseeing, like virtual sightseeing, the same way. So we've watched a lot of that, but every time I watch one of those, I just want to be there more.
Yeah, I can see that.
So I've told my wife that I almost get like homesick. It's weird to get like homesick feeling for a place I've never been.
Oh, interesting.
Yeah, that I've legit got that, like, I haven't really been like homesick in a long time, but you almost kind of get like a pit in your stomach sort of feeling. I remember it from being like a kid, and I've had like a similar reaction, like a physical, actual like feeling in my like stomach of that. Like the only thing I can describe as being homesick for longing. It's that longing to go to a place, but I've never been there.
The Welsh folks, there's a word called, I don't know the correct pronunciation of it, so I'm gonna say it how I say it, and that is high wraith. It's like
that's where Link's from, right?
From what? From
no, it's Hyrule.
Hyrule, yeah.
Sorry.
So hold on one second. So high wraith is let me actually look it up real quick, because it's a term
that is a Covenant tank that is up really high.
From Halo? Is that what you're describing as a Halo thing?
A high wraith.
So it's a deep longing for something, especially one's home. So I think like that's technically what but it doesn't have to like be your home. It means
it's more so on the deep longing side.
It's a pull on the heart that conveys a distinct feeling of missing something irretrievably lost. So hopefully that's not irretrievably lost, but hopefully, Kim Jong-un doesn't launch like actual missiles over there before you get there.
I'm trying not to think about that and like the growing conflict with China.
Like Taiwan and like, as soon as you get there.
Because it's pretty close. I'm like, this place that I've been longing as a bucket list item my entire life, finally get the opportunity, and then like some freaking bombs go off. And they're like, we're shutting it down to foreigners.
Yeah.
I would be devastated.
I bet.
Me and wife would both be devastated. We're like, we're going anyway. Just put a flak jacket on.
Yeah, that'd be killer. Well, for me, so
tell me about what you've got.
Well, we'll talk Japan. We're going to talk more Japan, especially when it gets closer, I'm sure. Yeah. And when you're there as well. For me, I'm just going. So we live on the East Coast. I'm going to go to South Carolina, Hilton Head. We've been there together before.
Oh, yeah.
Hilton Head's my favorite place to go. I loved going down there for a week.
That's where the story of me passing out in the Mexican restaurant happened.
Yes, yeah. that was fun time. Not but it's a fun place to go. It's one of my being from the Midwest, so for those who aren't familiar with the United States, the Midwest, it's a very landlocked, the Kansas is in the middle of this, the country. And so I'm very hot in the summer, very cold in the winters, just extremes both ways.
Right.
And going to the beach and being on the beach in that atmosphere is just something that is just amazing to me. Every time I see the ocean, it's like a miracle to me because I never could imagine it when I was younger.
Oh, that's a good point. Yeah. You never got to see it out there.
No. Yeah. Like water, I can't see the end of it.
Like, what was the like, is there a lot of like lakes at all or any kind of
There was one called Cheney Lake. And it's actually funny because I remember one time we were looking at our RSS feed to our subscribers. I remember there was somebody that plotted their thing in Cheney Lake.
Oh, that's right.
Which was weird.
Yeah. Like some dude out on a boat just listening to the show.
That's killer. So, hey, if you are a listener from Wichita or Cheney Lake or whatever, if you're one of our listeners, hit us up because we want to know who you are on our social media pages. But I remember being there and thinking, "Oh, this is a lot of water," but it's it's nothing compared to obviously the ocean. It's it's not minuscule amount.
There's something different about too, like looking at a body of water and you can't see land on the other side. Yeah. That makes a difference for sure.
Which foolishly, I was like, I remember the first time I saw it when I was like 17, when I went to the beach with some of your family, and I was like, I can't imagine. Like I was almost like expecting to see Big Ben or something like, being able to see into the UK. I don't know.
Oh,
like not realistically, but like in my head, I was
to see something.
Yeah, I was expecting to see more than like the horizon that you could see.
Right.
But I like being out there. I hate being in the water. I like swimming in the ocean, but I don't like the salt water in my eyes. It really gets me angry.
Me too. I despise that.
But my favorite thing to do, and we do every single year, and I'm excited because my kid I think is old enough, and we're trying to take him with us, is the Commander Zodiac. It's a boat. Oh. It's a boat trip. Like where you get on this it's like a little pontoon,
like inflatable kind of boat.
It's like the Navy SEALs use, like a Zodiac boat. A rigid inflatable hull, right? I think is what it is. And you get on that and you're like 3 feet off the water and you're sitting on the edges of it and they zip you out there and there's dolphins. It's really a dolphin tour and there's dolphins like pretty much jumping in the boat. And
yes. That was, I really enjoyed when I got to do that with y'all that one time.
Yeah.
That was so much fun. And we saw a couple sharks too.
Yes, we did.
They're smaller ones, but they were still sharks.
Oh, yeah.
So there was a lot of dolphins, but then, yeah, we'd see a fin. I'm like, that fin looks different. And the guy driving the boat was like, yep, that's a shark.
Yeah, there was the last time we went, there was with my brother and his family as well. They went with us on the boat, and we actually saw them in that area. They have this really unique feeding called strand feeding, where they essentially round up like a ball of fish. They get it to school up, and then they chase the fish onto the shore, and they get the fish to beach themselves, and then the dolphins beach themselves, grab the fish on the land as they're flopping around, and they wiggle their way back down into the water.
I think I've seen YouTube videos of that happening.
Yeah, it's a very unique thing to like Savannah, Hilton Head, that area where those pods are like the only ones that do it.
Right. Wow.
So,
I mean, they're pretty smart. That makes sense.
Very smart. But it's such a cool area, like the low country down there, like just the atmosphere and like the culture. And it's just one of those things. It's my relaxing place. And then we're going to go for a few days up north to Hatteras, where my wife's father works on the ferry on the Outer Banks.
Oh, right. Yeah.
So
cool.
That'll be exciting. So that's not a whole lot for me. I'll take some pictures on my trip out there, and we'll maybe some
nice beach sunsets,
beach footage, some nice food plates and stuff like that. But
yeah, that's one thing. Most of my family vacation stuff have always been to the beach as well.
Yeah,
a lot of them have been down to Florida, kind of in the
Panama City
coastal area there in Panama City has been the primary location, but beach vacations aren't really my ideal vacation.
Interesting.
Like, they're fun and I enjoy them. I like vacation, but it's not like, I feel like they never really, give me that full relaxation and resetting of like, my mind and soul and everything that vacations are supposed to do.
Interesting. What is your ideal vacation?
Well, I think it'll be to Japan.
Well, hopefully so.
So, but because like, I'm not a huge water person. I never really have been.
Well, we're all water people. 2/3 of us are made of water.
I don't really like getting in, like too deep out in the ocean or in water where I can't see the bottom kind of thing. Like I don't know what's in there. That freaks me out a little bit.
Fish.
So
fish poop.
Probably. Like pools and stuff, yeah, obviously that's fine. But like out in the ocean, like I'm not huge on getting, whereas my wife is the complete opposite. She is basically a fish. Like she'll swim in any water all day long and love it. But I'm just really not big on it. And then anytime we go, it's during the middle of summer too. So it's always like unbearably hot down there. And I will fully admit that I am one of the people, which you already know this, that if I get too hot, I get cranky.
Oh yeah, you're a little cranky, baby.
If I ever get hungry or hot, I get cranky. If you mix the two, it's not a good day for me.
Yeah.
So yeah, I will fully admit that those are the things that make me, like, most of the time I'm very happy and very joyful about life and everything. But if I get too hungry or get too hot, that can quickly go downhill.
Yeah, I think probably the majority of our listeners probably resonate with that as well.
Yeah,
I think most people don't like being too hot. Or
some people like laying out and sunbathing, and that's like their gig, and more power to you. I don't enjoy the heat too much. I'd much rather be cold than hot. So because of that, like any of the vacations we've had, again, I've enjoyed the time there with family and making the memories and stuff. But it's, I'm never just in like this blissful state of just happiness and relaxation kind of thing. So I'm really hoping that I can find that in Japan somewhere.
Well, I hope you find it too. Hopefully there's an X that marks the spot on that.
True. Speaking of X's, the other week after we recorded last week's podcast, we watched the live stream of that Xbox showcase. There wasn't really a whole lot that caught my eye, though. I haven't, in the past really year, like, I haven't spent that much time on my Xbox compared to like my PC. That my PC game time versus console game time has greatly shifted.
Yes. In
the past year, especially. So yeah, there hasn't really been one of those hot games. I played a good bit of that Hogwarts Legacy on an Xbox.
Yeah.
And need to dive back into that, but there hasn't been much on it that has really grabbed me enough to, keep pulling me back to, and I guess as far as consoles, I am playing the Zelda Tears of the Kingdom, which is on Switch.
Yeah.
So that's been the most I've ever played our Switch that we have by far. But yeah, there hasn't been anything on Xbox for me particularly that I've felt like putting a lot of time into.
Okay. Well, is there something in that showcase that you saw that might pull you back a little bit?
Probably so.
Which
and
one?
That's what they opened up with, which was Fable.
That's right. The new Fable's coming out.
So, and it was one of those things, as soon as I kind of saw the trailer for it and they were talking about heroes and they were being a little like cheeky about some of their stuff, I kind of got a hint, but then they showed an animation of this chicken flying through the air and someone kicking it. I'm like, well, now I know it's Fable.
Yeah.
You know, because that was one of the biggest things in the first ones, is being able to kick the chickens, being a chicken chaser. So that, and it's kind of a new reimagining of the old ones made by Lionhead. And so, and it's been long enough that they can definitely do a reboot of that series.
Yeah, I agree with that. I think especially if I think there's a lot of progress to be made on it for sure. I'm excited to see what it'll look like.
Right. I mean, that trailer we saw, I mean, like, I guess we didn't see much gameplay per se, but we saw at least graphically what it'll look like.
Yeah.
So that's exciting. It looks beautiful.
Now, talk about what are we going to be seeing now with the new like Unreal engines, Josh? Isn't that going to be? We were talking about this before, how it was going to be.
There's a couple other things that were going to be in it too. We talked about Arc 2, but we didn't see anything from that.
We didn't.
That's the thing, which is disappointing because I was hoping to see something about that. Either like, I want to see gameplay of that. That's one of the biggest gameplay things I'm waiting on, is for Arc 2.
Well, I'm pretty stoked on the new Jedi game that's coming out, or the new Jedi game, the new Star Wars
Outlaws.
Star Wars Outlaws is coming out, which is going to be a
open
free
world
roam RPG thing. I think one thing I don't like about it is, I guess, you're just stuck with one character. Like, there's no character creation.
Yeah, I like to have a little in any of my open world things. If it's because with any open world game, there's a good chance it's going to be one of those multi-hour games, like, beyond just like a 7 to 8 hour game. You're getting into the, like, even beyond like the 20 or 30 hour games. If it's open world, oftentimes you're probably going to push close to like 80 or 100 hour games. And if that's, if it's this big wide open world I'm going to spend that much time in, I personally do like to have some kind of grasp or control over, what my character, looks like, it sounds like, and all this stuff, so that I can better, relate and immerse myself into that world.
I mean, I've seen some people, make a good point the other way too. I would say though, I want something like Mass Effect or like Fallout 4, where your character is your character, but at least just let me, as long as I can do some, like, I can change male, female, I can change voice maybe a little bit, and then I can change
some like hair,
looks.
eye colors, things. Yeah. Like, I don't need like some of the crazy, where you have a slider for every piece of the face kind of stuff, like some of those WWE games and whatnot. Yes. But at least a little bit of customization in there is nice, just to kind of tweak it a little bit.
Yeah, but it looks killer. It looks like it's going to have like space combat. You're going to be able to take off from the planet and go into space and vice versa. And yeah, I'm kind of stoked on. We don't know how many planets there's going to be, but I saw one thing the other day. It was like 2 speeders, and you were like a speeder chase, and it slowed down. You almost had like a Red Dead Redemption style, like Deadeye camera.
Really?
Yeah, where you slowed everything down and went blasted both of them.
That could be cool.
That could be cool.
Kind of like a quick time event.
Yes, exactly.
Deal.
Exactly.
That's pretty cool. Yeah, like that one's definitely. It hasn't. It's not at the point where it's like a definite, like, oh yeah, I'm gonna buy that. Like, it's piqued my interest, and I definitely want to see more stuff on it. Like, I want to see more gameplay. I want to see some more things about it, just a little more in depth. Kind of know, like you said, about maybe the scope of it. How big is it really? How much of it can you do? Type of thing.
Yeah, I think I'm probably a def buy on it, but I just love that kind of. I think it'll be just right up my alley. But I think
another one that kind of falls in the same realm for me is the new Assassin's Creed Mirage as well. That it also looks really cool. It's a lot of it harkens back to the original Assassin's Creed. and it actually takes place, I think, like maybe a couple hundred years before that first one with Altair. But it's back in kind of the Middle Eastern setting and stuff, and some of the gameplay I saw from it, as far as like the parkouring and just the settings and the urban kind of sprawls that they have, it all looks very similar to that first one, which is kind of cool.
Yeah.
But that one, again, at that same time, I'm almost like, it's kind of that same thing. Like, I've already done that.
Sure.
In that first one. And so, and I pretty much, I didn't 100%, but I beat most of Odyssey. So I put a lot of hours into Odyssey. And so that really set me on my Assassin's Creed fix for a while. But, I've mentioned before that I want that feudal Japan one.
Which we talked about before, that there is one coming.
Project Red or something like that.
Yes, there is one coming, and I think that'll be exciting. I think if they give us what we want, and we, with the success that Ghost of Tsushima had, I mean, I think that it would be awesome.
Yeah, this one, Mirage, I'll have to see and wait to maybe, like, that may be one that I wait on some reviews or something when it comes out, but I may end up checking it out. We'll see.
Yeah.
If if I have the time in my life when it comes out to devote to an open world game, that also is a big factor. And nowadays, if I get a game or not, is if I even have the time to play it.
Sure.
So that one's still a maybe. But yeah, when they come out with but if I do end up skipping that, if they do come out with a feudal Japan one, I'll be all about that. I would be like jonesing for a ninja Assassin's Creed game of some kind.
I think everybody's wanted that for a long time.
Yeah.
One game that I'm pretty stoked on that I was not stoked on until we saw everything and we got to the Starfield video game. Starfield Direct, that when I started watching it, I was like, oh, this is going to be awesome. The fact that either your backgrounds that you have and you're going to have your characters going to have backgrounds that determine like what they're good at.
Yeah.
Is like a really interesting RPG thing. And that's going to affect how you interact with people as you're moving about the galaxy. How many star systems they say there was?
There's 1,000 planets.
1,000 planets. Just enough to where it'll take forever if you ever wanted to go there. But
you probably, you'd have to be hard pressed to explore all of them. And they even said, when it comes to DLC and stuff, they don't know that they'll add more planets and stuff, but there may be
just make it more dense.
A planet that you've been to, but that you're just like, something has happened on that planet now, and you have to go back to it.
Yeah. And
there's this whole new something going down on it.
But it looked very, the Fallout, it looked like it had decent gunplay. It looked like it had definitely some melee weapon stuff in it.
Yeah.
And then one of the most exciting things for me is just the ship customization.
That is wild.
So in the Starfield ship customization, you're going to be able to take and just you'll have your base ship and you can just add modules on like Lego style, ad hoc. And I think they made a Transformer one time.
It made it look like a Megazord or something.
Yeah, they made it look like a Megazord. In the Starfield Direct, they were showing us this and was taking off out of its feet.
It had like boosters in its feet. So you kind of envision either the kind of community crafting thing, the little town crafting thing you had from Fallout 4, we could make little bases and stuff and combine that with this, craze of crafting in Zelda Tears of the Kingdom, where people are taking the Zonai devices and making mechs with lasers and stuff in that. Haven't got anywhere near that point in the game yet, but yeah, they're making ridiculously complex and crazy contraptions there. So it's a similar kind of thing. You give building blocks and you can, it'll probably be a thing that you have to have a certain amount of required components or
power, or you have to have enough power for it.
You have to have, for it to count as a ship that can take off, it has to have this many boosters, and it has to have a booster. It has to have a cockpit or a bridge of some kind, and then some kind of power supply. You're saying, you probably have a couple required things, but anything in between it or attached to it is just extra. And so you can just make it however you want to.
Yeah, exactly. I think that'll be interesting to see that for sure. And I think there was ship to ship combat, correct? Didn't we see a little bit of that?
I believe so. I will say though that I'm still have a longing
for co-op.
Yes, being able to do that and build this custom ship, but then have it manned by a multi-crew, make it a multi-crew ship where you can invite a friend in and they can run your navigation systems or the radars or the weapons or the power management. all of what you can do in Star Citizen.
Exactly. Star Citizen is definitely the front runner there.
Has all of that stuff already on it. And Elite Dangerous has some similar things.
Yeah, you can, even though some of that stuff's not on console for like they have on computer for Elite Dangerous, but you could get hop in the ship with you, and you could man weapons, or you could fly a snub fighter.
We did that a little bit on the Xbox version where you were flying the ship and I was in the co-pilot, like shooting missiles and stuff. We did just a little. It was just a taste of it, but yeah, they've stopped updating the console versions and moved on to the PC version. So maybe we can try out the PC version at some point. I'd be interested to try that out.
Yeah, absolutely.
But yeah, I want that co-op space adventure. That's my longing in a game.
It would be crazy. I think if Starfield had that with like the customization, both of us being able to import like our custom characters, even if it's just 1 to 2 people, maximum 4. I think, just buff up the enemies, add extra
like
enemies.
Borderlands.
Yes, exactly.
Borderlands did co-op. That's one of the best implementations of co-op of any game I've played.
Yeah.
Like, even no matter where in the story, like, somebody could just join in with whatever level character they are, and it scales all the enemies to kind of match an average on what y'all are doing, and they can just pick up and complete missions with you and take stuff back into their campaign.
And bumps your levels up super fast, too, when you're lower level and fighting those heavier guys.
Yeah, like just do something like that. Like it's been done before a long time ago.
Yeah, exactly.
And that would be having that in a space exploration thing. Again, some people might say, well, you can kind of do that in No Man's Sky. And yeah, there is co-op in that space exploration, but there's the aesthetic. There's a handful of wished of components that I would wish for, and one of them is like I would take that co-op stuff from No Man's Sky and combine the aesthetics and the graphical fidelity of like an Elite Dangerous and kind of mix that stuff together, and then the co-op compatibility from like Borderlands, which, and also in that vein, Star Citizen does have most of that.
Yeah,
but
it's not always stable.
It's not always stable. It's still in development. And that game, like I've got a decent gaming computer. That game is still real taxing on my computer. And so it's not a very fluid. Like I can kind of get in it and walk around and stuff, but I don't feel like it's something it's at a place where I could, play it like I would any other game at the moment. So might still be down the road. I don't know. We'll see when Squadron 42 comes out. Like that's a thing to play. If that's kind of a self-contained deal. But you definitely need a beefy computer to play that like you're supposed to.
Yeah. Well, and I'm excited to see it. So I think for me in particular, the games that came out of the Xbox showcase is going to be Fable, Starfield, Star Wars Outlaws.
Yep. Maybe Assassin's Creed Mirage, depending.
Yeah.
We'll see on that. Those are the ones that definitely stood out to me.
Now, there is a new mobile game coming out for Assassin's Creed Jade Kingdom or something like that, or Jade something. That. It just came out with some stuff recently. So I'm interested to see what that'll be like. Some people have done mobile games well, i.e. Fallout. I thought they had a great, Fallout Shelter was a great little thing.
For sure.
So we'll see what goes on with what Assassin's Creed brings to the table there.
Yeah, that's pretty cool stuff. So yeah, overall, it's an all right show. A couple highlights.
We are both. I grew up with PlayStation a little bit with my friend's house. Then my first console I had was a PS2, and then we became Xbox people, or I became an Xbox person with you. And so I know a lot of you guys, are PlayStation folks as well. So we'll try to get some stuff about any of that coming up in the future, and post any of those things coming. And if you hear anything or you think anything's exciting, post it on our Instagram. We're definitely interested to hear about it.
Yeah, which that Instagram, you can find us at Geek ETC Podcast on Instagram and on Twitter. And you can search Geek ETC Podcast on YouTube, all one word, and it'll bring up our YouTube channel as well, which please subscribe.
Yeah, absolutely.
And listen to the show there as well. And if you do, give some thumbs up and all that jazz.
Yeah, a rating for the podcast would be super great too. If anybody wants to throw us
that actually goes a long way. If you give those like 5-star reviews on Apple Podcasts and those good reviews on Spotify and stuff, it just takes a minute. It's a few clicks, but it actually helps us out a lot. So
yeah, and that way we'll be around and you can possibly win something in our giveaway when it comes time for the Japanese item giveaway
when I get back from the trip.
Circling back to that for a second, what is your favorite Japanese food, by the way?
Favorite Japanese food?
Yeah.
I can't give you an answer on that because overall I haven't tried that much. So this is definitely going to be a trip of new horizons.
So you're going to be very explorative.
I'm going to try my best. I've always been somewhat of a picky eater. That's changed a lot since I've been married, for sure, which is good. My palate is slowly expanding, but this will be an interesting trip as far as food goes. I've already kind of told my wife that like I'm not, if it's got suction cups on it, I ain't doing it.
Man, you know who loves that? My son.
Really?
My son. So we get this, I think it's called like Iku Mari or something like that from a local Japanese place every Friday, every other Friday.
Mm-hmm.
And because he wants to eat, he loves it. And it's just because of King Kong.
Oh, really?
It's because of King Kong Skull Island.
Yeah.
He loves to play with it a little bit, but then he eats it too. So it's so weird seeing my son, and he doesn't want to eat the circles parts of it. He wants to eat the tentacles.
Oh my God.
So he's just there chewing on tentacles, and then he eats broccoli with my General So sauce on it. So that's what he says on Fridays. He's like, "We have broccoli and squid," because that's what he wants is broccoli and
Really?
squid. Yeah, that's like his favorite meal.
Oh my God. Ugh. Yeah, like, I mean, I'm not a fishy person at all much anyway, but I think there'll be a few sushis that I'll at least like try and give a shot.
Yeah.
But I can't do anything with the suction cup stuff. Like if it has suction cups or like at one point contained an ink sac, I'm not about that.
Interesting.
So, but hey, as a staple for us geeks at these conveyor belt sushi places, they also just have some like fried chicken tender things.
Do they?
Yeah. I was looking on the menu and they just have these legit little like sushi size like fried chicken bite deals. I was like, all right, I'm good.
There you go.
As a backup, I can get that and some watermelon or something. So curious to see if Japanese watermelon tastes any different from American watermelon.
What is it? They have like those $200 strawberries and stuff. Have you ever seen that? Like $500.
I've seen like
melons?
The white strawberries and stuff. But I don't know about those expensive
like cantaloupe. It was like $500.
Really?
Oh my God!
Are you sure it wasn't just 500 yen?
No, not 500 yen. It was like a $500 cantaloupe or something like that.
Oh wow! Haven't seen that, but if I come across one of those, I'll take a picture of it.
We're not getting that for sure.
No.
Yeah. Oh my goodness.
That I'll have to pass on that one. But yeah, I don't really have a favorite. I mean, yeah, like my wife is big into sushi.
Yeah.
We've went to a sushi place before. We need to do that again. Also need to go.
Oh, for sure. That'd be good.
But yeah, she's like, cannot wait to get there. And she likes seafood, but again, where we're at, you can get seafood, but it's not the freshest it could be.
Oh, here on the East Coast?
Yeah, here on the East Coast in America. And like when we went to the beach, she'd get seafood there and talk about how, you can tell it's better because it was probably caught that morning. And so there, she's really looking forward to it. There's actually one restaurant where they have this like river running through the middle of it and they give you a fishing pole and you literally catch your dinner.
In Japan?
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
That you get a fishing pole and there's like these different sections that hold different kinds of fish. Like some are in like, some of them are different prices. And you sit there and you literally catch, you catch the thing and as you get it, then someone else has a net and you grab it. And then they do this little like chant and little dance and kind of song that they do as like a celebration for catching the thing. And then they pull out a menu and say, how do you want it prepared?
That's awesome.
Fried and like or sushi or sashimi or whatever. And you just like point to whichever. You're like, I want the fish this way.
That's some like Stardew Valley stuff right there.
It is. And so you literally catch it and then you just go sit down at your table and they will bring it out to you, the fish you caught. So that's about as fresh as you can get.
Oh, yeah.
So she's like, we're definitely doing that.
Got to.
Yeah. So that'll be a fun time.
Hey, so you can go to our Patreon.
Yes, with the crew ever expanding all the time, hopefully at a quicker rate. But if you have an interest and you're enjoying this show and what we are doing with it and are looking forward to hearing more and you're seeing more content in the future, then yeah, go check out our Patreon. Help us out. Help us, cover some of the costs of making this show and, some of the, website costs and hosting costs and all that kind of thing. There is some upkeep with it. So any amount anybody can contribute is super, super helpful. And you can contribute for just as little as $1 a month.
That's right. We have a couple tiers. And then, like we said earlier, even if it's just giving us 5 stars on Apple Podcasts or something like that, super helpful. So, be like our friends, Tom and Ben, who have joined our crew, and, let's get out there and see the galaxy together.
For sure. I'm looking forward to seeing where it leads us.
Absolutely. Hopefully not into a neutron star or not into a black hole. Those are 2 of my things I don't want to go to.
No, that's worse than the ocean.
So like we said, remember you can follow us on Instagram at Geek ETC Podcast.
Yes, and on Twitter at Geek ETC Podcast.
And on YouTube at Geek ETC Podcast.
As well. And we also upload the shows at our website, geeketcpod.com.
That's
and
right.
you can go there to check out show notes from every episode. I curate those wherever possible. And below the episodes, you can there'll be links to some things we talk about in the shows, and you can check them out for yourself if you're interested.
Absolutely. Well, remember, geeks fight better together.
They do. And always remember, whatever you do, keep geeking out.
All right, you ready to eat all these toxic waste?
Give me some more of them toxic waste.
You want to eat them all at once? Let's see what
happens if you do ignore the warning.
Ooh, maybe my tongue will bleed.
Maybe your head will blow up.
Ooh.